Okay, so we're at the Tabernacle of David, just for the people who are watching. And Paul is interviewing me
Yes.
about what I am doing here.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just kick off.
Okay.
I'm with Liora Ziet from the Tabernacle of David Dance Center. Now, Liora, what is the Tabernacle of David Dance Center?
Okay, so I live here and I dance here. And this was a vision that God put in my heart in the summer of 2010. My first job after Aliyah was at the YMCA in King David Street. And I was teaching the youth dance program. I was heading up the program and I felt my knees were going to explode because I was teaching on concrete full time. And concrete is a dancer's enemy, it's their nemesis. So God told me I needed to start praying in a center. And over the years, the vision that he spoke to me in my heart was, when there is a proper wood-sprung professional dance floor, strategically placed in the body of Messiah in Jerusalem, nations will come and they will dance on the head of injustice. There'll be a shift in governments. They will dance people into healing, restoration, salvation, deliverance, and there'll be a shaking from Jerusalem to the ends of the earth. And that's what I carried for 11 years. So for 11 years, I was a traveling Tabernacle of David, and I was dancing at feasts, raising up troops, dancing as a soloist, which I've been doing the last 33 years, or 30 years. I've been a believer about 33 years. And so in 2011, I was at the House of Peace in Jerusalem, and the Lord tucked a word in my heart, and that was, he spoke to me. It is through the new song. It's through your voice. When you open your mouth and you allow the Spirit to sing through you. A song that's never been sung. And a dance that's never been done. The two innate worship gifts, he said, I am healing my people. And he said, Liora, the dance watches that you're doing in the local prayer houses, it's not only for praise and worship. Like at Passover we say, Dayenu, it would have been enough. But it's for healing and restoration. So dance worship is for prayer and intercession. And anywhere the anointing is, someone can cry out, Yeshua is Lord. The scales can be removed. And so God is doing amazing things through the dance. It's very powerful. Every time I do dance worship, it shifts my life forward. So I just want to say, it's not only that David danced before the Lord. There are about 10 scriptures that I've seen about dancing for God. In the Tanakh, the Hebrew scriptures, and then moving forward. So in the Bible, there's at least 10. I know people usually only quote like Psalm 149 and 150, but there's more. Yeah.
So this place is a fulfillment of what God spoke to you in your heart.
Oh, absolutely. And what's amazing, what I want to share to build up everyone's faith. I lived in a very small, humble abode for the first 11 years. And I felt very blessed. Even like after 10 years, I would turn the corner to go to my home. And I would say, wow, I really left America. I really did it. And I didn't complain that I didn't have aircon. And I was extremely, extremely active in my life. I would rent out different dance studios at different times. I would do outreaches at the parks, the First Station, all kinds of things in different cities. I would lead dance worship or do my Unlocking Destinies, Releasing the River, which is a new sound and new dance workshops. And so a lot of things. Just backtracking, what was the question? I lost my train of thought because I have so much to share. Oh yeah, the faith. Okay. So after 11 years and having 3 different landlords at the same place, each landlord would let me stay, I had to move. And thank God I had a lease, because I stayed till the very last day of my lease, because 3 different places fell through. But this is what I want to share. When I found out I had to move, around the same time, a young man from Austria who had studied with me, he was about 33 years old at the time, he said, Liora, I came into an inheritance. My father passed away, and God told me to pay for your dance center, which I had been praying in for 11 years, and it was painful. And I had addressed different people. I went to different prayer houses, and would you let me put down a floor? I'll pay for it, whatever. Nobody had the vision. And so I only recently realized the timing of it. Sometimes things are so obvious we don't see it. Yeah. When I had to leave is when this gift came. And so I had to find a landlord that would say, yes, you can put down a floor. in my place. And this floor is called a sandwich, so it's no nuts or bolts. It just sits, and it's permanent, because in America there are portable. So when I put this down as a step of faith, I said, this is my stake in the ground. God brought me here. He's going to keep me here. And so this was not just a donation. This was 300,000 shekels. This was 75,000 euros. This man had danced with me a couple of times, and God told him to do it. And I did find apartments, but they kept falling through. So I had nowhere to go at the last day of that lease. So I stayed at the Clarice Monastery, because they didn't have pilgrims, as they call it. And as I was walking on the other side of this street, I'm only 5'4", I'm average. I don't see anything above my head. So I'm walking along, and all of a sudden, Pitom in Hebrew, suddenly I look up to the 3rd floor, and I see a huge for rent sign. And I picked up the phone like a reflex. I didn't even think about it. In 3 days, my lease was signed.
Wow.
But that financial gift, if you did the math simply, it would only last for 2 years. So moving in here was a step of faith, because I knew after 2 years the money would be finished. I could work all day long every hour, and I wouldn't have enough to pay my bills. My bills are like 13,000 shekels a month. So nearing the end of 2 years of being here, I said, Lord, what do I do? I'm worshiping. What do I do? And he asked me this simple question. He said, will you let me stretch your faith? I said, okay. So for the last 4 years, I have been signing this lease, having no idea how I will pay for anything. So that's meant to encourage whoever is listening to this, because when God gives a vision, he will provide for that vision. And I've heard it said that when it's impossible in man's understanding, you know it's God.
Wow. So what sort of projects do you do here at the dance center?
Okay, so I work one-on-one with women, because again, God's word, it's through the new sound, the new song, and the new dance I'm healing my people. And so I'll do a 2 or 3 hour session. The first 50 minutes at least, we're on the floor, we're just breathing and letting all the stress out of our body. So I say, it doesn't matter how tired you are, come get on the floor and breathe and make noise. And I work during the day, because most people in my building work outside, so that's the time we can really be free with making a lot of noise. And we hold so much in our body, in our joints, our tendons, ligaments, sinews, cartilage, bone marrow. We hold trauma in there, because most of us didn't learn how to properly, in an emotional way, a good emotional, healthy way, deal with pain and heartache growing up and disappointment. So we lodge it in our body, and our voice will set us free. And so I'll say to a student, okay, now let the sound out. And some of them will just start to cry, because their oppressed pain is hidden in this. Most of the nations I've worked with have heard a message, sit down, shut up, you have nothing of value to say. I've worked with big brawling men who they have tears in their eyes because they want to get free, but their culture has put a kibosh on them, has squashed them. So it's as if God has put a key in my hand to come alongside the boy or the girl and every man or woman I work with to bring the child out to play. So when we can put a properly behaved adult outside, bring the child forth to embrace the sound, the song, the dance that's never been done, that's when I see the shackles fall off of people. And that's when they move forward. So my passion is for destiny. So when we come like a child, taking no care for what our neighbor thinks, that's when we can soar ahead. That's when we can be thrust forward, be catapulted forward. But see, when we're children leap from their heart, right? So we can learn from children. But we get older, we become inhibited. And we're so ensnared to what our neighbor thinks. We exchange one sin for another. We get healed, we get saved, we come to the church, or we come to the church and then get saved. But nonetheless, we pick up the sin of idol worship. We care so much about what does our brethren think about us, not what God thinks about us. It's like brethren come first. We'll never, none of us will come into our destiny if we're living to please man. We have to decide, are we living to please God? And so my workshops prepare people to live a prophetic life, meaning, here I am, God, do with me what you will. I'm not listening to this. I'm listening to the Lord. It's not to say we don't take counsel. I don't mean that. But if we're living to be accepted and approved of by man, we're not going to be putting God first. So my workshops, the one-on-ones, and I do group classes with men and women, or group classes with just women. I do both. I do celebrations. Men and women, I work with men into the 90s. Men respond to me. And a lot of people think, oh, don't expect men to dance. Not in my experience. And it's simply an affirmation that I'm in the call that I was created for. Yeah. And the joy of the Lord is my strength. And I have found that both with emotional and physical pain in my life, my dance worship has transformed my life. It shifts me forward. When I dance for God, I'm literally being shifted forward in my life. And men have expressed that they've experienced intimacy with God that they've not experienced any other way. So men do dance for God, and I have a series on YouTube. If you look under my name, Liora Ziet, put in quotes, men do dance for God. Men of all ages are giving testimony. Men who said they would never dance. I'm talking about believers. I'll never dance. I'm a worship leader. I'll never dance. In moments, they're flying off the wall. Because I'm in my call. And there's a message here. We all need to simply be faithful to God in our call. So people are getting healed. I had a woman from South Africa. She tried many modalities of healing. And she came here. And this was her last stop before she was going back to South Africa to open up a woman's shelter. And I was so honored and humbled that the Lord brought her here. It was a divine appointment. It was just through word of mouth. And she said, I've tried many things for my healing. She said, but this did it. So we hold so much in our body. So it's not only the dance. It's the dance and the new sound. It's letting the sound out. You know, in every nation, Paul, we've been given permission to sing. In almost every nation in the free world. But the spoken word, when we project from the depths of who we are, in Yiddish we say the kishkas, the depths of who you are, we get set free. Because we hold our emotions in our body. And our voice is a major light switch. And it will allow who we are to come forth. I was working with Andrea and Willie, a married couple from the States. And they were doing a duet together. It was a private marital. And I said, lift up your voices. Really let the authority of Elohim out. Really speak with the authority of God from your kishkas. As soon as they started to do that, I was like, whoa, you could feel the atmosphere change. There is authority in the name of Yeshua, and we are to step up to our lives today and use our voices. Because again, the world has told us, shh, shh, shh. Don't draw attention to yourself. God told me years ago, I have not called you to blend in. No. Shine your light on your holy hill. And I'm shining my light. And my name, Liora, means God's gift of light be unto me.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, in many churches, we see worship where people are singing.
Right.
How important is dance in worship?
Wow. Dance is critical. God showed me many years ago, I went into Christ Church, and I was going to a Messianic congregation there. And the Lord spoke to my heart. It was when I first started going there in 2009. And the Lord said to my heart, I love the worship, but I want to take it higher. And the way God takes worship higher is through the dance. Dance breaks off shackles that bind. And I think that's why some congregations throughout the world, I mean, dance in the Christian church is very prevalent throughout the world. Not so much in Israel. In Israel, you'll see the circle dances, right? You won't see so much the individual, the soloist doing the prophetic dance. The prophetic dance is very powerful. It's not to say that the Messianic dance isn't very joyful and awesome. It is. And I do that as well. But I'm called as a soloist, and I would love to share when God sent me out in 1997. I was a believer 5 years already. And what preceded that was forgiveness. So there's a big message here about forgiveness. We must forgive in order for God to bless us. And my dad and mom were moving to Arizona, and I invited my dad over. I made him dinner. I held his hand. I looked into his eyes, and I said, Dad, I forgive you. Because I really wanted to, you know. And it was deep. And I don't see how anybody can forgive without knowing Yeshua. I think it's just impossible. And I realized, I didn't get it at the time, he was the first person, my earthly dad, that I actually did dance ministry in front